Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, so we are talking Turner syndrome. And this week I have a couple of kind of housekeeping items before we jump into the topic. First of all, I'm super stoked about you guys' response to the video idea I had. I'm like seriously so excited for it, and I'm super stoked to actually start that process. I can't wait to see your guys' videos. If you missed my official announcement with all of the details in it, I will link it. Make sure you watch it and check it out. Ask any questions at all that you have if you need me to clarify anything or what have you. The basis of it is have a video done and turned in either by emailing it to me or uploading it as a private video on YouTube and then sharing it with me by September 1st so that I can collect them all by then and start the process of putting it all together. And even if you want to do a super short clip and just be a part of the intro stuff saying, "Dear medical community, I have Turner syndrome, this is our stories," even if you only want to be a part of that part of the video, that's totally cool also. Totally works. Just send me that and I can put it in. So make sure you have it in by then, and I'm really excited. The second thing is, I thought we could read some of your comments again because I love trying to incorporate this when I can. So I'm just gonna highlight some of the most recent comments I've gotten on a Turner syndrome video and see what you guys said. Deanna Penowit, I don't know if I'm saying that right, commented on my video about confidence with having Turner's. And she said, as a physician with Turner syndrome, the commenter's understanding of mosaic versus classic is actually correct. You actually can survive with one X in all of your cells. One X is turned off in females. There are some genes that are still turned on, giving us our symptoms. The page on Turner syndrome on the NIH Rare Diseases website is pretty helpful with this. That is very interesting. I've heard the two different ways of trying to explain it, but I never heard it explained how it's possible in that way. I still don't quite fully understand, and I'm not sure how that plays a part in the way I'm envisioning it affecting somebody, because I feel like it's still going to vary, and that not every girl with classic is going to have every cell affected if there are such different symptoms in every girl with Turner's. All of the variance in severity, all of the even just number of the symptoms that show up are so different from case to case. It makes me wonder if it isn't every single cell for every single person, because if that was the case, I would expect it to look more the same. Like, it would be a lot more similar from case to case than the stories that I hear. But I'm not a scientist or a doctor at all, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm thinking about this right or not. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Another comment was on my video about deciding who to tell and how you discuss it with them, or if you discuss it with somebody, and kind of determining who you talk about having Turner syndrome with. Not everybody has that option, but going into detail would always be an option. Fur Mama 81 said, well, the way my now husband found out I had Turner's was when we were dating. My mom and him had a jury duty together. Long story short, she ended up asking what he thought of my Turner's diagnosis if we were going to be together for the long haul. I got a text from him later saying we need to talk. He is extremely supportive and couldn't ask for a better husband. That's a funny way. I actually kind of set myself up for this same kind of tone for starting the conversation, because I was the one that was like, I need to tell you something. And Andrew was like, okay, what? And I was so nervous and serious about it that I think that made him a little like expecting the worst case scenario ever. And the way he actually has dealt with it has been so incredible and so much better than I ever could have even expected or imagined. And looking back on it, I feel really silly now being so nervous to tell him. But that's a really cute story. Thank you for sharing that. So today's topic, I want to talk about how we kind of form our little story that we give when somehow unexpectedly the conversation turns to Turner syndrome with somebody that we don't know, that we kind of don't already have that history of explaining the finer details of it with them, and it gets brought up and they're like, oh, what's that? And you have to kind of give a little quip about what it is, like a little short synopsis explaining it. And what do you say when somebody asks that? Do you give the full detailed explanation and say, well, how long do you have? Or do you just say, oh, it's a genetic condition and it causes some health complications? I bring this up because, funny story, I got a really out of the blue seeming text message from Andrew the other day saying, next time you see the UPS guy, explain Turner's to him. And I was like, what? And he said, I was out filming, working on my car, and he asked what I was doing, and I said, oh, I'm filming a video for my channel. And he started telling him about our YouTube channels that we both have and what we do. And so he told him I do videos about a genetic condition I have called Turner syndrome. And basically he wanted me to kind of more fully explain to the guy what it was than he did, because apparently the guy was really curious about it. But it just made me think, one, how cute is that he was telling the UPS guy what it was? Two, how do you even explain that to somebody that you don't know? Like, it's always a really weird, awkward moment when you're trying to decide how to start explaining. And generally what I do is I say, oh,
it's a genetic disorder that only occurs in girls or women. And basically, when a guy has an XY and a girl has an XX chromosome, a girl with Turner's either only has one whole X and the other X is missing, or they have a whole X and the other X is broken and damaged and not full.
And that then causes a bunch of stuff. And if we're talking about infertility, then I'll say, and that's what causes premature ovarian failure in me and causes the infertility. But I feel like that's a lot to go into with some random happenstance of the conversation coming up. That's the best I've come up with though. But it creates this moment of like, how do you best explain so they know enough to understand, but you're not like oversharing your medical history, telling them how your last EKG went. Because I feel like that's a concern. And I don't want to do that, but I haven't found any better of a way than what I just showed you guys of how to really quickly explain what Turner syndrome is, while also giving enough detail for them to have context enough to fully understand it for whatever the conversation is. And I think that's good as far as awareness goes, trying to do it in a way that still lets them understand it, but not overwhelm them. I think especially as I've gotten older, I've gotten so much more used to telling people what it is and trying to explain it to somebody that's never heard about it before, that it kind of just has started rolling off my tongue of, oh, it's da 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 da. But it still always shocks me how much information is really in that little short synopsis for them to try to process. It's a lot of information. And then to think, okay, so what does that mean for you? Like, you can almost see the wheel spinning, like, so what's different about you because of it then? And that, I think, would help them understand more, to kind of put that in context of what that means for me. So that just made me think about that, and I would love to hear how you guys explain it. Do you even try? Do you give a really short, like, oh, it's a genetic disorder that causes health complications, and don't go any further? What have you kind of gotten in the habit of saying when somebody asks about Turner syndrome? Or do they? Are you in a scenario very often where you have to try to explain it? And what would you do if you were? If somebody just randomly said, hey, what's Turner syndrome? How would you explain it to them? I find this very interesting. I would love to hear that in the comments below. If you have any Turner syndrome topics you would like to see me cover, leave that in the comments below as well. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!